Hello, this is how to share a directory between a Windows QEMU KVM virtual machine and the host hardware Linux operating system using virtiofs. So this is the virtual machine. Let's look at its properties. And this is the technology that we're going to use. virtiofsd Windows is what I searched on Google. I got to this first documentation page. We're going to do what it says in here. So let's take the steps one by one. We have a Linux host operating system. So the hardware computer is Linux Ubuntu 25.10. The virtual machine is Windows 11 Pro. On the host operating system, so on Linux, we're going to create the directory that we're going to share towards the virtual machine. So on my home directory, I'm going to create a directory called vshare. This is an example, vshare. And on the host operating system, we need to have a package installed, which is called virtiofsd, which probably is already installed, probably is part of the virt-manager package. So let's see if that's the case. The package -list and search for virtio, says virtiofsd. If not, you're going to install it on your Linux operating system, for instance, in the Ubuntu and Debian family of Linux operating systems. The command line would be sudo apt install and then the name of the package, virtiofsd. Okay, so we did the necessary changes to the host operating system. Then we need to do some changes to the virtual machine. The virtual machine is stopped. First step, under the settings for memory, we need to enable shared memory. Press the apply button. Then we need to add hardware of type file system, driver virtiofs. If you don't have the element in here in the combo box for the virtiofs, then go back to installing the virtiofsd package for your Linux operating system. At source path, we're going to find the directory that we have just created. Let's see what's its name. Like this. And the tag is going to be vshare. We want the share directory to be read-write. If you don't want to be able to write to the directory, you can mount it as read-only using this checkbox. Finish. And it's the moment where we start the virtual machine. In the Windows virtual machine, we need to install two installers. The first one is WinFSP, which is similar to the Fuse file system in user space for Linux, but this one is for Windows. My Windows operating system is 64-bit. Download WinFSP installer. Save. It's an MSI package. Okay. Next. And I'm going to keep the defaults. Next. Install. This probably also has a Windows kernel module component. Select yes at the user account control prompt. Finish. Next up, we need to install the virtio Windows guest additions. This is how I do it. On Google, I search for virtio Fedora people. I take one of these links, and then I can, for instance, either select the newest directory in here from, for instance, September 2025, or go to the parent directory. And in here, there's a latest virt.io. And we need the virt.io win guest tools.exe. Let's install it. I agree. Install. Yes to the UAC prompt. Next. Accept. Next. I'm just keeping all of the defaults in here. What we're interested in is the virt.io FS. I'm going to keep the default so all of the additions are enabled. Next. Install. And finish. It's installing display drivers for Windows. Close. Resize to VM. At this point, maybe it would be okay to actually restart the virtual machine. Let's do that. And we want to look at services.msc. Let's see, how do we get there? Task Manager, for instance. Services tab. There's a button to open services.msc. I'm not interested in this left tool pane. The Windows services are sorted alphabetically. We're going to go to virt.io/fs service. So I wrote from the keyboard virt.io. It navigated straight to the correct Windows service. Right-click, Properties, make the startup type be automatic, and service status start. Okay, at this point, the directory should be mounted as Z colon. Let's see if that's the case. And it's in here. It's called vshare, the correct tag, the correct name. And the Windows drive is Z colon /. And it's empty. So let's create some files and directories, both from the host and from the guest, both from the hardware operating system and from the virtual machine, and see what's happening. So let's create a directory created in the VM. Let's also make a file in here. Let's find in the host operating system these. So it's ~/vshare. I can see the file, I can see the directory, I can edit both from the host and from the guest. Notepad should know both Windows style end-of-line characters, so \r/n, but also Linux style end-of-line characters, which is just \n. Okay. Text line edit from the guest. Save. And that's it. Both worlds, the host and the guest, can see the same directory and the same directory structure, the same files, the same file contents, the same directory names. I can read and write from both operating systems, both from the guest Windows operating system and from the host Linux operating system. So this was it. This is how to share a directory between a host Linux operating system and a guest Windows virtual machine, virt-manager, QEMU, KVM virtual machine. Thank you.